SpectreVision Radio.
I know I sound wild, but I swear to y'all, spirit dick is the best dick. Outside of women dick, it's the best dick. And I had it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Cabo Aquaba. Bienvenidos. Sakase. Wagwan. Nangadam. What's up, y'all? Welcome to A Little Juju podcast. This is the Africana Ethereal podcast, diving deep into the medicinal, the magical, and the ancestral spiritual tools that can help get us free. And I'm your host, Juju Babe. I am the author of the book of Juju, Osun Priestess, Oreoluwa Osun, and of course your favorite big cousin conjurer. Welcome back, y'all. Happy. Well, first, before I say happy almost Valentine's Day, happy birthday, D'Angelo. Happy heavenly birthday to the icon, the soul music aficionado, the beautiful man that is the artist. There will be no other than D'Angelo Michael Eugene Archer. I wish you happy heavenly birthday. Thank you for everything that you've given us, the music, the insight, the research, and your spirit. May it live on forever and ever. And sending my love to his family. So y'all, when you hear this, when the episode is done, go stream some D'Angelo today. It's music for the lovers. Like, it's almost Valentine's Day. It's time to start streaming D'Angelo. Now, happy almost Valentine's Day. Do we still celebrate Valentine's Day? I like Valentine's Day. I know people be like, I think it's cute. I know it's consumerist. I know it's corny. I know I don't need a day to show you love. I can show you love every day. Ass niggas. I know that's what y'all love to say. I don't celebrate Valentine's Day because why I gotta have a day to show you I love you? Because you do. Because that's what it says. Let's acknowledge the tradition. Y'all being cheap. Don't, if you're a man or who I'm only saying man because it's usually a man that says that, even though when I first got my girlfriend, she tried to do this too. Well, I need Valentine's Day. Because you fucking do get, where's my gift? Where's my things? Then she's got into it now. If somebody is telling you that, say no. It's because you follow this holiday, you believe in the tradition, so you want your things. And even if you don't have a boo or you're not getting anything from them, do something nice for yourself. It's okay, because I know that people, even though it's consumerist and people often do want to feel good on Valentine's Day. They want to feel like they're loved. They want to feel connected. So reach out to your friends, reach out to your family, share love. It doesn't have to be all about romantic love. This is a day to celebrate love. On top of all the other days we can celebrate love, yes. But on this one, I'm expecting chocolate. Thank you. Okay, so for this Ogun's Internet, in the spirit of love, I want to talk about the history of Valentine's Day. Now, many holidays that we celebrate in the West often have very deep pagan roots, like pretty much damn near all of them. And Valentine's Day is no different. So, Valentine's Day started in ancient Rome, and it was called originally Lupercalia. And so Lupercalia was a festival to celebrate fertility, having a good harvest, and it honored the Roman god Faunus. I think that's how you say it, Faunus. And so this is a festival where a goat and a dog would be sacrificed and it would be given to Faunus. And so priests within this tradition, or Roman spiritual practitioners, would take the hide or the tail of the dog and the goat, and they would lightly smack women, like not in a violent way, but just like they would like kind of pat them gently with the hide that was dipped in the blood of the goat and the dog. This was said to bring easeful childbirth to the women, to again bring about fertility, to ensure that children came, to ensure that there would be a good harvest. So once the Roman Empire embraced Christianity, Galassis made February 14th for St. Valentine. So they're like, okay, we can't keep doing Lupercalia. We can't keep dipping the blood and sacrificing. We're good Christian people. So I'm going to change this day to Valentine, after Saint Valentine. And I don't know if I said, but Lupercalia would be between February 13th and 15th. So it was a 2-day ceremony and celebration. So Saint Valentine specifically is a saint that in 3rd century AD, Claudius II banned marriage for young men because he said that single men were better soldiers. So marriage was simply not allowed. But Saint Valentine was like, no, this isn't okay. We need to honor the sacrament of marriage. So Saint Valentine was secretly marrying couples, young couples, and, allowing them to be together, to be wed. And this was a risk, of course. You're going against the Roman Empire, you're going against the king, essentially. And so eventually, Claudius found out that Saint Valentine was marrying these couples, and he was beheaded. He was executed for it. And he told, before he executed him, he asked Saint Valentine to accept paganism. And no, he just continued to say, no, I believe in love. I believe in Christ. And so he was exiled. Now, apparently, there was a letter that St. Valentine wrote to a woman before he was executed, a woman that he apparently had healed, something like that. And he signed the letter, Your Valentine. And so that is where this kind of, sending love notes or like your Valentine, I want to be your Valentine. That is where that came from. So again, we have pagan roots, but even after Lupercalia was changed to Saint Valentine, this is actually an honoring of a saint who was, following his beliefs, standing up for what he wanted to, not believing that it's all about war and that men needed to be single. If they wanted to have love, that they could have love. And so he honored that. So shout out to St. Valentine's. That's actually iconic. You tour with that, St. Valentine. I'm gonna give you your 10s. Thank you for being a martyr for love. Okay, so our next segment today is Jew for Thought, where I share what's on my mind, my insights, what I want to talk about, what's going on in my head. And I was thinking about love and relationships. And I don't know if I ever really talked to y'all in depth about my relationship that I had with my spiritual husband. Now, there are a lot of terms for spiritual partners in different spiritual systems. I practice Ifa, so sometimes spiritual husbands come up in the concept of Nirisha, who are Egbe. And Egbe are our spiritual mates, our heavenly homies, as my old godfather used to say. These are the spirits that were with us before we were born. They were our family in the spiritual realm, that we were hanging out in the heavens. And, in the heavens, you're like, all right, I'm about to go to earth. They're like, oh, okay. What you going to do down there? You tell them. They're like, okay, we'll help you out. That's how we can think about Egbe. And so sometimes we have relationships in heaven. We have relationships from past lives. We have children from past lives. And sometimes that connection isn't always severed completely. So you can have a husband or a partner in a past life be born. Of course, we don't remember them, but they're from heavens looking like, girl, we married in 2 AD. Like, what you doing down there dating people and being married? So sometimes in certain situations, people will have to go through a ceremony to release the ties that they have with a spiritual partner, even sometimes spiritual children from other lives, so that they can successfully have new relationships. So sometimes if you have relationships that seemingly don't work, or there tends to be a problem, or even random things come out of nowhere and sever your relationship, you could only date assholes, or you could have a situation where there is a spiritual companion that is literally ruining your relationships. And so that was one of my experiences. I kind of always have felt that there would be someone with me or around me. And it didn't feel bad or anything. It felt very protective. It felt very loving. But it didn't feel like an ancestor. It didn't feel like it's my granddaddy around or I know he's with me. It kind of felt like someone I knew but didn't know. And there's always been this part of me that felt like I've been married before or that I've had a husband or something. And the reason that I knew I did is because one time, this is gonna sound crazy though, I was in Chicago and I was just laying in my bed. I was about to go to sleep. I had this overwhelming feeling come over me like it's time to fuck. But it wasn't like I was horny and I had to address it. It felt like someone was in the bed with me. I kid you not, y'all. I felt a weight like pressed down on my body when I was in the bed. I felt this overwhelming sense of ecstasy, and I felt like I was having sex. Like I'm telling y'all, this ghost, my spiritual husband, he took over. I'm telling you. Like I felt, when I tell y'all I felt everything, I felt literally everything. And I talked about this on another podcast on horrible decisions. I was on that podcast some years ago. A lot of y'all did not like that interview. That y'all didn't appreciate how it went. I enjoyed the interview. It was fine. I got no beef with them. I had a good time. But I talk about this there too. So it's just reminding me of me telling Wheezy and Mandy my experience, and they're like freaking out. So I felt everything. I felt the weight of him. I felt, y'all, when I say everything, I felt everything. To the point that I reached a whole orgasm from doing nothing. It was so random. And after that happened, it happened multiple times after that throughout months. And it was at the point where I just got out of a relationship. I started talking to someone. It got really toxic. Like everything back to back was so toxic. And I was like, you know what? I think I have a controlling spiritual husband. So what did I do? I went to get a reading. I went to my godfather. I was like, hey, I think that I have a spiritual husband who is in my business, who doesn't want me to be in relationships, who is also being intimate. Like, I don't even know how we talk about consent. Like, I don't know. We're not even gonna go there. And so he did a reading and he was like, yeah, you do. And you need to receive Egbe in order to stop your spiritual husband from bothering you, telling him that he needs to back up. So I went through this ritual. I went through this ceremony. I received Egbe. And of course, it stopped. I have not had any issues since. I have been in a happy relationship. I have not had any problems. I still kind of ish feel it around him, but not in a serious way at all. Like he's chilling. He cool. So, sometimes love is about the individual and the human beings and the people, but there's this whole other world out there, y'all. There is just so many other experiences that we can have that are not just about us having relationship. It's a relationship to the dead. It's a relationship to the spirits. It's a relationship to your old partners. It's relationships to animal spirits, familiars. Like there is so many opportunities to have love and relationship. But I just want to say again, if you feel like your relationships are messing up in ways that don't make sense, not because you keep dating fuckboys, that's always going to mess up. But if you feel like it's like, no, I don't know what's going on, it's always something, you might need to get a reading. You might need to call me, might need to call the Babalawo, might need to call the Iya and see if you have an issue with a spiritual husband. Because I'm here to tell the tale that I was getting spirit dick for months. And you know what's funny? It was good. Honestly, if I had to pick between a man and a spirit man, I'm picking a spirit man. Like, I'm choosing a bear. Hey, I know I sound wild, but I swear to y'all, spirit dick is the best dick. Outside of women dick, it's the best dick. And I had it, but I had to cut that off because I was like, I didn't come here to be fucked by a ghost for the rest. Like, that's crazy. So shout out to Egbe. Shout out to my Egbe. Shout out to my godfather. Shout out to everyone who supported me in my journey. Thank y'all for listening. I promise you I'm well. Let's take a break and we'll be right back. Welcome back, y'all. So, A Little Juju podcast is a labor of love, but it is labor nonetheless. Time, energy, resources, and most importantly, money go into making this show the success that it is. And so if you want to invest, if you want to support A Little Juju podcast, if you want to keep this content coming, I need your coin. And you can do so via Patreon. So patreon.com/jujube is where you can invest $7 a month that goes especially and explicitly towards A Little Juju podcast content, helping my team, getting new equipment, paying for all the software that I need to upkeep this show. There you can help me do that. Now, if you're like, Juju, I got a couple more dollars for you, baby, I will say thank you. and point you to the other tiers that we have. You can get additional perks on those tiers like reading of the month, private Discord chat, meetups, divination classes. We do a whole bunch of stuff on the Patreon. So if you're interested, meet me there. What they say, beat me there. Don't meet me there, beat me there. Beat me there. See you on the Patreon. Now, big shout out to all of my patrons, new and old, who have invested in the show. I couldn't do it without you. So as you are exchanging in the energy of abundance and prosperity and resources with me, I am sharing it back to you tenfold, that you have the resources, that you have everything that you need to achieve whatever your dreams are. So thank y'all so much. Of course, I appreciate all of you who like, comment, and share this podcast as well. That also helps with growing my numbers, which helps with money, which helps with advertisements, which helps with me being able to monetize on YouTube. We're actually almost there. So thank y'all so much for your investment in the show. And I'll see you over on the Patreon. Bye. All right, so our next segment today is Black business. And no, I'm not about to teach y'all how to set up a BBL recovery house. Although if one of y'all do that, maybe you need to teach me, because y'all are getting your bags, okay? Black business is where we talk about what is happening in Black people's business across the diaspora. What happens here happens there. So let's see what's going on around the world in Black business. So today, in the spirits of love and connection and binding rituals, let's talk about marriage, specifically in Nigeria. We're talking about the Ijaw and the Kalabari ethnic groups. So you all may have seen these videos where there will be these beautiful brides. They're standing in the middle, usually of like a hall or some type of event space. They have people all around them dancing, throwing money at them, spraying, and they're stone cold the entire time.
Boy,
MTK on the beat.
Namo. Kemowi. Dr. Peter. Ziki.
People are throwing hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars on them, and their face is stiff as a board. They be looking stank. So I wanted to research what this process was about. What is happening? This practice is often found, like I said, in Ijaw and Kalabari tribes. So the bride is supposed to denote a level of seriousness in her face, calmness, and reservation. So as she's getting the money thrown on her, she's not supposed to smile until she is satisfied with what the groom and usually the groom's friends provide for her. So they stay stone cold until they get the coin when it looks like there's enough dollars on the ground. Sometimes you'll see the dollars going. Sometimes men are bringing stacks of money to them and they're still like, I don't know about y'all, but I'm adopting this. I don't care. I'm going to be in my wedding. I don't care. I'm staying stone cold. I'm like, I don't even know if I'm Ijaw or Kalabari, but I will be, because I want to see that coin. And there, of course, is always a deep background to why they do this. Yes, it looks fun. Yes, it's become a social media sensation, but this is rooted in tradition. So I wanted to do some research about what that is. So some of the reasons why this happens is that this is an act of mutual respect and negotiation. This is the bride negotiating her bride price, essentially. And we find bride prices across many different cultural systems, particularly Black indigenous cultural systems, but really all over, where it's not like you're paying for the bride, but it's acknowledgement that when you get married, your marriage and your wife is worth something. And so what are you putting up to acknowledge the worth of your wife? Sometimes this could be animals to the family, cola nuts, physical money, cattle, livestock, anything to acknowledge, like, yeah, I know who I got, so I'm giving you something. So it's not like you're paying for your bride. It's an acknowledgement. So with the spraying the money with the serious face, this is like, we're negotiating. This is a negotiation practice. Come on, feminism. The next aspect is that the bride is showing respect and reverence for tradition. So the serious face is like, this is a serious practice. This is a serious tradition. This is a serious moment. Being married is serious. So That's why she's not initially supposed to be smiling in that. The next is a serious face can denote emotional maturity and being calm. So it is valued in different cultures to have an even keel, to have an even tone. We're not, sometimes being all hee ha ha and giddy all the time is not what is wanted all the time. So it's like, yes, I can have fun. I can also, we can be serious. I know how to be serious. Money is serious. I take money seriously. And sometimes this tradition is to test the husband to see if he is prepared to take care of his wife. Do you have enough money to make your wife smile? Do you have enough resources? Can you, if you run out of money, it's often the groom's friends as well who are spraying. Will your people be able to come in and support us if we run out? Like, this is a communal effort to make the bride happy. Honest, I'm taking this tradition. I don't care. And then the last thing is that the bride, of course, eventually will smile. She's supposed to smile. So you're not supposed to literally stay stank the entire wedding. Like, I think they know to an extent, like, dance, be happy, cheerful. So it always does end in that because it's saying, yes, there will be moments of seriousness, but at the end, we are celebrating together. We are celebrating love. We are celebrating joy, and we are celebrating happiness. So, at the end, they always come together and be happy and smile. As I was researching this episode, I started looking into different rituals like across cultures and even our own rituals that we have in the US where, we jump the broom and I do weddings. Don't forget to call me, jujubay.com. You can contact me. I'm actually doing a wedding in a few months. I've done multiple weddings at this point. I am a minister. So the different things that people want in their ceremonies, the sand pouring rituals we've done, water rituals, candle lighting rituals together. There's so many things that we do to acknowledge like the coming together of people. And all of this is essentially binding. It's binding work. And I think that a lot of people are afraid of binding, or binding has taken on a really spooky frame because often when we're talking about binding rituals, it's about who put the red stuff in the spaghetti, who put the white stuff in the Alfredo, who put the sweat, coochie sweat in the rice. It's always about putting some type of secretion into some food that another person will consume so that we can lock them in with each other, so that we can keep them from running. All the lore that we have about don't eat a woman's spaghetti, don't drink coffee from her, don't do this, don't do that. So there's a fear that has happened around binding. But binding is so much bigger than, I will say, this very real occurrence and this very real legacy about keeping people close to you. An unrequited love, non-consensual love interest that is happening, that has happened, it'll probably always happen. It is what it is. But I want to remind us that binding is also keeping your people close to you. There are examples throughout slavery of, yes, people consuming each other's fluids or, um, sharing, bloodletting with each other. But it was a reason. It was to keep the family close. It was like, I don't want my child, or I don't want my husband, or I don't want my family to be separated, as families often were separated. So what rituals can I do to keep my people close to me? What ritual could I do so that my family stays together? That if we're sold, at least we're all sold to the same plantation. So binding can look much bigger than what we think. We also can attach ourselves to good outcomes. We can bind ourselves to prosperity. We can bind ourselves to our home. We don't want we want to make sure that we are owning our homes. People are taking people's home. I live in New York. People from New York are always talking about the brownstones that their grandmama had. People coming and snatching them and giving them paperwork and squatters. Like, it's a whole bunch of stuff going on. What would it mean to do a binding ritual with your house? What would it mean to do a binding ritual with your land? As we think about people being taken from this land, who are being removed from their homelands, who are being removed from their houses, who are being deported, how might we incorporate binding into that instead of our consistent focus on, I want this nigga don't want me, I'm gonna put steam under my coochie and put it in the rice. Sister, No. But there are so many things that you could bind yourself to that might actually lead you to something valuable and important and invest. Let the binding be an investment, not these niggas. And I say this because I have been one of you. I have done a binding ritual before on a person. One was consensual, one was not. I can be honest about that. And the amount, the work that it took to rid myself of that work because I was being a delusional little hoe, it's not worth it. And of course, binding yourself to a nick, like, why? So I support bindings. I do. But make sure you're binding yourself to someone or something that you actually want to be with beyond today or that moment, but down the line that will help you or support you or help your family. Not just to Jaquante, who don't got no job, who don't got no sisters. I want us to break free from the bindings. We are under spells, people. Let's break free and bind ourselves to the things that matter. We want what wants us. Remember that, y'all. You want what wants you. I want what wants me. Not anything outside of that is a no. So let's expand our view of bindings. Okay, y'all. Today's next segment is cod liver oil. This is the segment where we talk about healing. What can we pull from the cod liver oil? What can we pull from the Pilates to make ourselves be and feel well? So we are still in winter. The girls are coughing. The girls are coughing, okay?
Please wear your mask. Wear your mask. It is very important for you to put on that mask.
So I want to share my recipe that I use when I've been coughing. If I have a tickle in my throat, I make it for anybody who's around me who's not feeling well. And they always say it works. My partner told me that I said that my grandma used to give this to me. I don't remember if I told her that, but she was like, you said your grandma made this. I don't know. Maybe my mom did. I actually have no idea where I got this from, but this is like what I drink and what I will make you if you are feeling sick. Don't ask me how much of these things in. I just do it to my liking. So just do it to your liking. So to make this tea, you do hot water. I do apple cider vinegar. It's probably a tablespoon. I don't know. I also do lemon, a splash of lemon juice, or I squeeze a bit of lemon into it to help clear out the mucus. I do a couple shakes of cinnamon. It just makes it yummy. I don't know. A couple shakes of cinnamon. I'll do cayenne pepper, so it gives it a kick and a spice. I feel like the cayenne really just clears out the mucus. Don't make it too spicy unless you can handle that, but just enough to give a little chest kick. Sometimes I also will add a smidgen of black pepper, but cayenne mostly. I will put turmeric as well. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but just a little small spoonful. Turmeric is anti-inflammatory. In my brain, I don't know. I feel like when you're coughing, things might be inflamed. So adding a little turmeric. And then honey for sweetness. Of course, honey is very soothing as well. And honey is what makes it taste kind of good, actually, with the lemon and the honey and even with the ACV and the cinnamon. It's yummy. So you mix it all up and I sip on that. That is like, I don't cough. It really keeps the coughing at bay. It helps clear out the mucus. So I want to share that since we're in our little coughing season. There's a lot of things going around still. People have been getting sick constantly. I mean, of course, it's flu season, but there's also a whole bunch of new things that have been developing. You notice that since COVID, it's just been like RSV. It's just the chest things, the respiratory issues are just continuing. So this can just help you if you've been feeling, a lot in the chest area. And of course, I don't remember if I've talked about this, but mullein as well if you're coughing. Mullein is what saved me when I went through my COVID experience and had long COVID. It was only mullein that had me. So I'm a mullein warrior. Please, of course, make sure that you're reading the ingredients. Make sure that you can take mullein. Make sure that it's healthy for you. Make sure, you're not pregnant. Look into all the ingredients, right? I ain't no doctor, but just sharing what has worked for me. So I hope y'all are well. And if you're not, I hope y'all get well soon. Stop coughing. Drink the tea. I promise it will help. Okay, our final segment today is Dear Juju. This is where you all can send in your listener letters. So, any questions that you have for me, insights that you want to pick my brain about, anything that's going on in your mind, you can write into me at dearjuju@yahoo.com and I may read your letter aloud. So, today's Dear Juju letter reads, Hey Juju, my name is Jamia. I love your podcast. It's so informative and your dedication to it is inspiring. I was reading a book on Osun and it had the following lines. Ifa teaches that everyone who comes to Ikole Aye is entitled to a good life. Ifa scripture defines a good life as the blessings of abundance, long life, and children. This book seems to be quite knowledgeable and pulls from a lot of oral sources, so the author says, these are just 2 lines that led me to this email. This got me thinking, how do the Orisha conceptualize abortion? Are they supportive? What about those who are infertile? I imagine that their perception is not black and white, and it probably boils down to circumstance and context. I imagine that they probably are supportive. I'm curious about Oshun's perception in particular. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jamia, for that question. I really appreciated you asking about pregnancy and abortion. So I will say that Oshun specifically, who is my mother, I'm a priest of Oshun. I initiated to Oshun 2 years ago now, going on 3 years ago. Wow. She is a Orisha that helps with fertility. She loves children. She loves bringing about children. Oshun at one point was barren, and then she became not barren and had plenty children. There's also Yemoja, who is another Orisha, who is the Orisha of the large waters, the oceans, etc., the mother of fish. So Yemoja also has plenty of children, so she also helps with birthing as well. So Oshun and Yemoja, all the Orisha can help with fertility, but people tend to sort of go to those 2 Orisha, and sometimes others as well, for children and childbirth. So if someone is suffering because of infertility, in my practice, you would be able to get a reading, and most likely there is a medicine that will be able to address it. So there are plenty of people who have not been able to have children who have come to Ifa. They may have to give some certain offering to Oshun, or may have to initiate into an Orisha. They may have to take something. They may have to do something. But there is medicine to deal with infertility, because there are Orisha who have been infertile, and because they changed certain things about their lives, or they had to stop eating something, or they had to start eating something, they were able to be fertile and have children. So that's the belief system. It would be that if you weren't fertile, you would go and you would get fertile with the Orisha, unless something came back and said, no, it's not. Maybe you aren't having children. It's not for you to have children. Maybe you are a parent in another way. But for the most part, most practitioners and priests would say, well, we're going to get you fertile, with the Orisha. Anything is possible in that regard. Now, your question about abortion, I personally don't know of any Odu, so like sacred corpus, sacred oral tradition or text, if you will, that speak of abortion. I'm sure that there are, and maybe a more skilled or knowing priest could speak about that. But just in my perception and idea, I think that it's different for everybody. I don't think there's one, like, you're not allowed to get abortion in Ifa. I haven't heard that. Like, similarly to Christianity, people may pull from the Bible or ideas. I don't even know if the Bible says you can't get abortions, but there is a general belief, I think, in many Christian traditions, that you are not supposed to have an abortion, it is against God. That has not shown up from what I've seen in Ifa. It really depends on who you are. I think if an abortion was best for you, then Ifa would say that it's okay. Now, there are some people who may have a taboo against terminating pregnancies. And so but that is specific to that individual. It is not because the termination of pregnancy is bad or against God or it's evil, but some people, it may not be favorable for them. So it could be a taboo. So it really is relative. What I love about Ifa, it's really relative about who you are. It's not like it's bad, it's good. It's like, is it for you? So some people it may not be for, but of course you still have you still have freedom to do what you do. And that's just what you do. So it's come up for me in the past that it would be taboo for me to like have abortions or to terminate my pregnancies. Thankfully, I have not been in a situation where that has come up where I've had to. But if it were, I would have to really consider that. But then I would also probably go to Ifa and say, yes, I hear it's taboo, but so what, you need a chicken so that it's not taboo? Because like this baby's getting yeeted. It really just you get to talk to the Orisha and see and give a little, take a little. You do. I don't know. At least that's how I like to work. So that was such a wonderful question. So again, you can't have abortions to my knowledge in the practice. Ifa does love children. Ifa loves pregnancy. Ifa loves childbirth. But we can also expand our ideas of what it means to have a child. You can have a reading that says, this is a year of fertility in children. But a good priest will say, it doesn't have to be a physical baby. It could be your ideas. It could be your projects. It could be the things that we birth. That's what it's about. Ifa likes to birth things. Doesn't always have to be a baby, even though babies are a blessing. But there are so many ideas and wonders and magic that we're all supposed to be creating ourselves. And so that also shows up in the form of quote unquote children, because like a Little Juju podcast is my baby. Like, it's the same thing. So thank you so much for that question. And if you have a question that you want me to answer, write into me, dearjuju@yahoo.com. Alrighty, my loves. I appreciate you all so much. I feel like I should say now, we only have a couple more episodes left of this season of the podcast. I feel like it's felt really long, but it also went by really fast at the same time. Don't worry, it's not over yet. We still have more episodes. I'm just telling y'all now. So when the last episode comes out, you might be like, okay. We have a couple more episodes left of this season, but I just want to say thank y'all for rocking with me. For my new listeners, for my old listeners who have been following me since 2018 and listen to me yap, saying some of the most wildest shit I've ever said out of my mouth that will never go away because it's on the internet, because I said it in 2018 where I didn't give a fuck about anything. Y'all have stayed with me through all of that. And I appreciate y'all so much. So thank y'all for listening. Thank you for supporting me. If you want to reach out to me, of course, you can go to my website, jujubay.com, contact page, fly me out, do some book talks, bring me to your organization, your university, whatever it is. Book your readings on my website. I'm at ITSJJBAE on all my social media sites, and of course on Instagram at A Little Juju Podcast to follow the podcast page. All right, y'all. Be well. I'll see you next week. And remember, all you need is a little juju. Bye. A Little Juju Podcast is brought to you by SpectreVision Radio. Executive produced and hosted by me, Juju Bay. Producer and DP, Jenahye Johnson. Consulting producer, Janicia Francis. Audio visual editor, Oreoluwa Akinyode. Production support by Alex de Palma. And set design by Cowrie Studios and Juju Bro.